What's up, YouTube? I'm Brett.
I'm Lance.
This is RANTS. As
always, please remember to leave a like, a comment, share our videos, and subscribe.
Today we're going to be talking about whether Supernatural would actually have been better on Amazon Prime instead of the CW. What do you think?
After seeing The Boys, I think they could have got away with
gotta
a
think
lot
so
more
too.
if they had done something like with the same director on Amazon Prime, because you see how much he's been getting away with The Boys, and I feel like it would have made a show like Supernatural seem a little bit more genuine. Like they could get away with stretching the boundaries of things that they do a little bit more. Not too much, but just to make it more realistic to me.
I feel like Amazon Prime is the best rendition of, like, because HBO, I feel like, kind of takes it too far.
Yeah.
I feel like any of those shows,
Cinemax,
take it way too far.
Like Stars did it with Black Sails.
Yes, they go crazy when it comes
because they can get away with too much.
But I feel like Amazon Prime does like the perfect version of it.
I think so.
Like I
thought so.
There's only been some shows that
I mean, like with the show like Supernatural, let's say like you're running from a demon or a ghost or something like that, you're not gonna be like, oh crap, you're gonna be like, holy fuck.
Yeah, I know. And it would actually be more realistic.
It would make it more genuine. That's what I think.
So this is kind of a dream video for us.
Yeah,
like, this would never happen.
I love Supernatural.
Yeah.
I love Supernatural. I just think it would have been more realistic and more genuine and a little bit better of a show if they could have got away with a little bit more than what you can with CW.
It's almost kind of like both of us, I used to be, I know you still are, wrestling fans.
Yeah.
And you remember back in the 90s when we got into it,
it's like
they could get away with a lot more.
Once wrestling got to that PG era, it went to crap. Like, let's be fair.
Let's face it, it does take away from the realism.
For us,
things.
I mean, I get that it makes it better for, like, the new generation coming up. But then when they've come up and they get to a certain age, they're going to be like, this is trash.
Yeah, and you're right. I mean, because it makes it where, yes, it might be a little bit more family friendly. But at the expense
in
of
the long
not
term,
being,
it takes away from it.
Yeah, it's going to take away from the fan, the fans growing with it.
With it, yeah.
Than the other way around. Because there's like
even like with Supernatural, if they had started out kind of mild and then kind of got a little more wild throughout the show, it would have made it better too. Because then we would have been growing with the characters grow. Because I mean, they were young adults when it first started. Sam was in college.
They look like babies.
They look like babies if you go back and look like I just restarted watching it the other day, and Dean looks just weird to me because he's so clean shaved and he's such a baby face.
I know. I'm like, is that CG? CGI? Like what is that?
Yeah, you almost think if you didn't know better, you'd almost be like, when did this come out?
I know.
He was like 15 or
I know. But I mean, I agree with you on that. Another example that we could use was Harry Potter. Harry Potter movies.
I felt like they did
and
that
the
right.
books moved.
I felt like they aged. It showed them. Talking like they were little kids to talking like they were preteens to talking like they were teenagers to talking like they were young adults, which that showed character growth. Like, you could...
It did.
I grew up with these people. Like, so I started out reading the books when I was like 10, 11. Then I started watching the movies. When it was all over, it hurt me a little bit because I'm like, oh man, what do I do? I grew up with these people. But I didn't get that same feel with Supernatural. But I mean, I love the show. I just think it would have been like on a different network, like one that they could have pushed the envelope a little bit, would have made it a better show. Which it's still in my top 5 shows of all time. But
I would say I would agree with you wholeheartedly. I would almost say that I can go back and I can watch certain shows that I liked as a child, as long as I feel like eventually there's going to be a level in this show where it's going to get a darker, maybe a little bit more adult.
I mean,
I don't have to go like full fledged straight up adult. They don't have to be saying like the F word in like every single.
Right. That's what I'm saying.
But they do need to have more adult kind of
adult content.
Content. Yes.
And I mean, there are some things, even with the CW, where there was some adult content, Dean and strip clubs and stuff like that. But
but there was still moments. I mean, let's face it, it wasn't.
Yeah, because it was, you know, chicken. Yeah. It wasn't network. It was network friendly for the network that they're on, and so I feel like if they had been on a,
I think that it would have made this show so much better. I would have felt like, you know, now.
See, I can still go back and watch all 15 seasons. I'm sure. I haven't seen season 15 yet, but I've seen up to that. But
there was some moments. See, it starting off as real PG. I felt like there was some instances of Supernatural, like
where they did stretch it a little bit, but
where they stretched it, but I also kind of felt like they went from PG to just G.
Yeah,
like let's take the Wizard of Oz episode and things along those lines. I kind of felt like they really kind of would have that version.
But when they did the like Scooby Doo one, it was like they took something G and made it R because it was
fair enough.
So and you know what, when I first knew that they were doing this like Scooby Doo Supernatural crossover, I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah, I know.
But it was actually kind of cool. It was
it wasn't that.
It was kind of cool to see a grown up version of, you know, blood splattering and Scooby Doo. Like, it was cool.
You know, they made Riverdale, you know, from the Archie comics, you know, more adult and things along those lines.
But that's because they're basing that more off of the dark mysteries of Archie than just Archie.
But I just kind of feel like Scooby Doo would be one that they could do the same thing with. It would be awesome, and I would watch it.
I probably would too. I watch Riverdale though. But.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan on Riverdale. Mostly because I have to write a lot on it from Screen Rant is the reason why I'm not big on it. And not that it's a bad show. It's just I'm sick of it.
there's things that bother me with Riverdale that they take something from the timeline that it was actually written in and put in the show, but then they have cell phones and everything else. So I'm like, stick with one. If you're gonna make it a modern day Riverdale, make it modern day Riverdale all the way around.
Yeah, when that guy pulls out that little knife, it's like.
Which is how it was in like the 60s, 70s.
Yeah, but it looked cool back then, I guess.
But then now we grown up in these decades that we've grown up in. We're like, that wouldn't even scare me. I'd be like,
no, that'd be like
I needed a toothpick.
Yeah, I know.
But you know,
like you'd have to prick me like 500 times.
I do like that show. But anyway, but that's another show too that probably would be a lot better if it was on something like Amazon or you know.
See, I feel like you know, it just adds depth to it. I feel like it makes it where that once the show's over and you know fans look back on it in that regards,
I feel like this should be more of a topic of whether or not platforms like Amazon and stuff has hurt like local or like.
It has.
National TV platforms more than would Supernatural be better on Amazon. Would everything be better if it was on something like Amazon or?
Because look at it this way, you know, our generation and our parents' generation, they grew up on shows that was like CBS, ABC, Fox, CW, whatever. And so we're accustomed to that.
Another one,
but the next generation is
like
not.
Sleepy Hollow, when they did that on Fox, if they did that on something like Amazon.
Oh my goodness, that show would have been great.
It probably would still be going on.
Oh yeah, I would have loved that show.
So with those regards, you gotta think like that. So maybe it's not
the originals is another one that could have been good.
Even Vampire Diaries.
Yeah, I mean, you know, there's a lot of stuff. Even go back far. I always said,
I always said that, you know, CW fell in love with this crossover stuff. I just wondered, like, when they got to the point where they're like, okay, we're going to end Vampire Diaries, they should have just had a crossover with Supernatural. Just let Sam and Dean come over there and cut all their heads off and boom, the show end that way. But you know how many fans, there would be so many fans so pissed off. Like, I would love it.
Fans might hate it, but I guarantee you that'd be like the number one ending of all time.
Yeah, probably.
But I just kind of feel like I agree with you. I kind of feel like I think streaming services are what the next generation is going to grow up on.
Yeah,
there's not going to be these CBS anything that's going to be on any of these mainstream networks is going to be kind of kiddish and childish. And I don't feel like the next generation is going to be that interesting.
I don't feel like that either. Like, let's fast forward in time a little bit, and Stevie and Jensen are teenagers. Are they gonna get into these shows that are on like CW and Fox when they could go watch something more age appropriate at the time of being a teenager, as like Amazon Prime or
because
Hulu
it's so mild,
even Netflix? You know,
it's gonna look so mild. Yeah. And back when
now
we were younger,
the only network I can really think of that kind of is close to being as good as like Amazon and these streaming services would be FX. Like with Mayans, they drop the F-bomb and stuff here and there.
I feel like
and I wish they had been doing that when Sons of Anarchy was on there.
They did somewhat.
Not
bad, not bad,
really.
But that was
when Jax was like, "I'm gonna beat your butt." Like,
yeah. There was. I will agree with you. There was.
Now, if he had been like, "I'm just stomp his ass," I would believe that.
Yeah.
Like,
there was,
and that's my issue with like wrestling. Even like when John Cena comes out there and gets on the mic and he's like, "Oh, you keep talking like this, I'm gonna beat your butt." Now, if he's like, when Stone Cold was coming out there, he's like, "I'm just stomp a mud hole in your ass."
John Cena threatened me. I'd just be like, "You can't see me."
But I'm just saying, like the roster of wrestling now, they can't get away with really threatening somebody.
Yeah, I get. Yes.
And it's the same with these TV shows.
But I mean, when you're dealing with a TV show like Supernatural, imagine the blood and the gore.
That's what I'm saying. And not that CGI blood like they did in Spartacus.
No,
like I'm talking real,
realistic blood
splatter, and like
not
Dexter.
But see,
now Dexter, it was on one of those networks. It was on Showtime, and usually with shows like HBO, Showtime, Stars, Cinemax, they go way too far. Dexter actually did pretty good with that. There wasn't a lot of things where I was like, okay, they took this too far.
Yeah, I would actually agree.
For
with
them getting away with what they were able to get away with, but they didn't push that envelope too far. I actually enjoyed that show.
I love that show. Actually, that was one of my favorite shows of all time.
And they talked about doing a reboot of it, but I'm like, as long as the guy who played Dexter, I can't think of his name, Michael something. As long as he would come back and play Dexter, I'd be cool with that. If they replaced him, I wouldn't watch it. I felt like he made that character.
I'll give one more example of kind of our generation with certain things. Even you remember when Simpsons used to be edgy.
Yeah.
And now for that's really mild for children. You can almost show it on Cartoon Network.
Well, it's on Disney Plus. I mean.
Yeah, exactly. So I mean, these streaming services, they're the things of the future. Supernatural would have aged, I think
it would have thrived more. I mean, it did great. Don't get me wrong. Look at the fan base.
Hardcore fans are going to love it. 10 years,
what.
20 years. I'll watch it 10 or 20 years.
Like I said, I've rewatched that show so many times, and I'm rewatching it again currently. Like,
it's one of those shows that it's got rewatch value to it.
Yeah,
there's some shows that I'm like,
there was seasons like. I think it was season 7. Like, I've talked about this in other videos.
Like Leviathan.
When the Leviathan thing happened, it was a real struggle for me to get through. But once I got through it, I got through it once. I can get through it again. Yeah. And I still rewatch it.
Well, not every show. I mean, when you've got a show that's lasted for 15 seasons, not every season's going to be great.
No. Granted, and not every show that has lasted that long am I going to be like, I'm going to go and rewatch it. I can't rewatch Smallville. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I get to a certain point with Smallville.
I love Smallville.
I did when it was on, but I can't.
But I can't go back and rewatch it. I struggle with it for many different reasons. But
see, I did that with Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
See, I never got into that.
I like Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
See, I got more when I was younger. I got more into the little spinoff off of Buffy than I did Buffy. Like, I watched Angel all the time.
I liked Angel. Yeah.
Now you go and look at it, and you're like, "Oh, this is so fucking cheesy.
It's so stupid.
Oh my goodness, it doesn't even look right." Especially once you've seen demons on shows like Supernatural, and then you try to watch demons on that, and I'm like,
shows
it's just a bunch of makeup. And
but see, it shows like the progression,
of the genre. Period.
Angel, the makeup stuff looks like something that kids would wear for Halloween now.
And it was like, the same on Buffy, though.
Yeah, it was terrible.
But yeah,
there was nothing realistic. Let's just face it.
It's just the growth of the genre. Period.
Yeah,
you know?
It is.
And now, like you said earlier, with all these streaming, it's going to be so much better. But that's about all I'm gonna say.
That's the way I feel towards it. I feel like it would have. I don't
want to hold these people up all day.
I feel like it would just been better, and it would have more lasting appeal for future generations.
Yeah.
If it would have been on Amazon Prime. But as always,
I struggle with cutting it short with shows like Supernatural.
I know we could rant on that all day long. But as always, guys, leave a comment as to what y'all think.
Make sure you subscribe, and when you subscribe, click the notification bell so you know when we're dropping our new videos.